Look at this. This is so cinematic.
あなたの姿に気づいてその東洋人は走り去った。そうですね。アンナ・リーベルトさん。
Anna Lieberts.
はい。
Interesting. Not Nina Fortner. Yeah, I suppose she can't really use Nina Fortner, can she?
あの町の人々がその東洋人のことをドクター・テンマと呼んでいるんですが、あなたが彼について何か
Of
ご
course not.
存知では？
何も知りません。
あの格好だとこの町で売春でもやろうとしてたんじゃないですかね。
違うよ。
は？
ドクター・テンマだよ。
Dude's got his mind.
最初トルコ人街の連中はその東洋人をそう呼んでいた。だがいざ連続殺人の容疑者だと言って聞き込みを始めたら、全員が口を揃えてこんな男は知らないと言い出した。
Hey? Who's this?
俺が身元保証人になった。
ロッソさん。
Mr. Rosso.
無事だったかアンナ。心配したぞ。急にいなくなっちまいやがって。
Huh. Interesting.
着替えたか。
Still pretty as
う
hell.
ん。やっぱりそういう服の方がいい。さあさあ腹減ったろ。飯食え。飯。
Meshi. Is he about to
ロッソさん、食事は？
load up on 5 sugars?
俺は済ませてきた。
And one more? Or was that the fifth?
なんだい？
相変わらずお砂糖5杯入れるんですね。
当たり前さ。甘くなきゃ。
I mean, I take mine black, man. That's almost like a dessert at this point. 5 sugars? God damn. But to name it that,
やっと笑ったな。
it's kind of similar to the seasoned soldier
やっ
and the...
と笑ったな。働きたいって面接に来たのに随分暗い顔だったぜ。砂糖たくさん入れるのがそんなにおかしいか？アンナ。
アンナ・リーベルトです。
もちろん採用だ。当然さ。あんたみたいな美人が働いてくれたらうちの店は大繁盛だからな。お前さん、もう少し笑った方がいい。
Careful, bro. You'll
せっ
get
かくの
canceled.
美人が台無しだぜ。
Oh, look at this. Hair tied up. Reminds you of someone? Strong resemblance.
ワインはカウンターの上、グラスはこっち。
水はこれ。
はい。
She's diligent. She'll pick up on it immediately.
いらっしゃい。
はじめまして、アンナです。
はじめましてって、おいおい、まさかお前さんこんな店のウェイトレスやるわけじゃないよな。は？
How
ま
cute.
さかこんな店ってのはどういう意味だ？
Go on. You got this. Oh, they're lining up now. It's all the men.
カルボナーラ頼むよ。俺はボロネーゼだ。アンナ、こっちに来て水を。
It's kind of wholesome and a little bit
はい、
creepy.
ただいま。お待ちどうさま。
ありがとう。
Rosso, eh? Interesting.
アンナ、俺がこんなとこよりもっといい店連れてってやるよ。
All right,
今夜
calm
ど
down.
うだい？
おいおい、あの泣き虫ロッソが随分と勇ましいこと言ってるぜ。
Crybaby.
あいつはね、こないだ俺んちのテレビで映画見ながら。
Oh, so these are all close friends, I suppose. Regulars. Ah,
いいよな。フランクフルトは映画館がいっぱい
yeah.
あっ
I'm
て。
possibly looking at
この
another film
前テレビ
reference
でや
here.
ってたんだ。このベネツィアはイタリア中世の港町で水の都って呼ばれてる町なんだ。
ロッソさんは行ったことあるの？
Rosso.
ああ、それとこの映画は音楽がまたいいんだ。テーマになってる曲、多分
He
あんなも
immediately
人
moved
は
on.
聞いたことあるんじゃないかな。
Back to the film.
どんな曲？
まだ入れるんじゃないかな。
あ、うん。でも、
Kind of late.
そうか。今からじゃ遅くなっちまうな。
うん。
I love his design. It's like you just see it in the design that this man, you know, he's been there, he's done that, he's lived life. He's got a lot of lessons to give.
おかえり。
Look at this.
詮索するつもりはねえけどよ。
Oh boy.
毎日どこ行ってんだ？別に休み時間に何しようと勝手だからな。
She's got something else on her
射撃
plate.
のトレーニング。
Ah, right. Okay, good.
射撃。
Immediately gets to it.
ええ。ベンケルさんの射撃場に。
Ah, so timid. Understandably.
ロストさんは銃を撃ったことある？
銃なんてとんでもねえ。あんなもん見ただけで震えが来るぜ。
Oof. Ugh. Fortners. That should light a fire. Ooh, new music? It is. And it's beautiful. I always love the placement of that. Even that feels like it's by design sometimes, or a lot of times. Yeah, it's kind of pivoting around that film. Dude's about to have his dessert coffee again.
どうぞ。
That's respect. There's a sadness about this man, though, isn't there? You know, he hasn't, I guess they haven't really touched up on his life or his family, his wife, perhaps a late wife. Yeah. Look at this. Ah, I love this. You could just read so much into the character design as well.
ロストさん、お風呂どうぞ。
Oh, she lives in the same place as well. Does it actually remind him of his family, his wife, or partner?
俺の若い頃にこんな映画があったとはな。
Oh, he didn't get a chance, perhaps?
いつも映画見て泣いてた。
ああ、若い頃は映画を見たくても見る暇もなかったからな。あの頃はうまいものいっぱい食ったはずだが、
Yeah.
何一つ食ったものの味を覚えてない。砂糖の味もわからなかったんだ。
Okay, maybe give us a bit of background information about this man.
俺のこと知ってんだろ？
Okay.
俺もあんたが出てった後、
Okay, he's not just a simple restaurant owner, is he? Oh my god, beautiful.
ミーナ・フォルトナ。
And that's why she can't use that
両親
name.
を何者かに殺され、以降行方不明。依頼か教えてほしかったの
Oh,
か。
okay.
教えてもらおうと思った。
どうして俺のことが分かった？
Clearly has an interesting background then.
大学の法学部であなたのことを
I
研
remember him.
究していた教授がいたの。リストランテ2の事件、サッコ・ミラの事件。その教授は面白い仮説を立てた。それによるとあなたは間違いなくプロの殺し屋だったわ。
Enforcer.
それも超一流の。
俺が何人殺したと思う？
The entire demeanor shifted.
実は俺も覚えてないんだ。まだガキの頃さ。気がついたら組織の人間になってた。
The mafia, essentially, the mob.
盗み、恐喝、何でもござれだ。
Racketeering and
し
all
まいに
that.
は殺し屋になってた。褒美でうまいものが食えたからな。
Eh. Oh, is that him? It
どう
is.
ってことはない。それが仕事だった。
It's just a transaction for him. I take a life here, I get my payment, move on to the next. Sniper specifically. From a distance. Oh, kind of said lunge, doesn't it?
何人目になるか知らないどこかの誰かさんに俺は照準を合わせたんだ。その誰かさんはコーヒーを頼んでいた。
Oh, did he put 5 sugars in as well?
そして砂糖を入れ始めたんだ。4杯。
He's just like me.
その5杯目の砂糖を入れたところで 俺がいつも飲んでるコーヒーの味が口の中に広がったんだ。
Wow.
誰かさんはそれをうまそうに飲みやがった。
Oh, there's that change. He's reminded of the simple pleasures, perhaps, right? Just sugar.
それで俺は銃を下ろした。
That's fantastic.
そんなもんだ。そんなもんで俺は人を殺せなくなった。なぜ半年の間、俺に殺し方を教えてくれと言い出さなかったん
6 months,
だ。
あなたを巻き添えにしてはいけないと思ったから。
Oh, nice. Beautiful. This is present time now, I believe. Yeah.
どうしても行くのか。
ありがとう、ロッソさん。
人殺しなんて簡単だ。砂糖の味を忘れればいい。
Whoa. Wow. It's you know it's almost as if that moment kind of humanized his target. Nice. Oof. That kind of gave me chills. Killing is easy if you can forget the taste of sugar. I mean, so many things might have rushed through her mind in that moment, even about her brother, Johann. All right, episode 18, almost immediately upon asking for, a potential flashback for Nina, for Anna in this specific case, I suppose she is sticking to that name because Nina Fortner, to be specific, is a bit hot at the moment. That name is a bit hot to be going by at the moment, as our fantastic limited appearance character, Mr. Rosso, showcases. Right? He's been doing a bit of background check on her as well. This seemingly friendly and sensitive restaurant owner, right? Who turns out to be a former pro hitman. It's yet another fantastic limited appearance character in another fantastic standalone episode, in my opinion, at least. It kind of continues its exploration of human nature. It continues the exploration of the central themes of this anime, of the story as a whole. I mean, I think this episode right here, some of the stuff that comes out of it is really, really quite connected to the overall themes of this anime. And like I said, it kind of continues to do so through these fantastic impact characters that may or may not be appearing more than once. See, that is textbook limited appearance character right there, because you really do have a certain amount of time, a limited amount of time, to make them impactful, to make it so they do have some sort of lasting impression on the principal cast, be it Tenma and his experiences with some of these, limited appearance characters, like Dr. Schumann, much more recently, be it Nina or Anna in this specific case, right? And the impact Dr. Rosso, Dr. Rosso, Mr. Rosso is going to have on her. And yeah, I do think he has left a lasting impact on her, for sure. Killing people is easy if you can forget the taste of sugar. Simple statement, right? Simple statement, but wow, that right there, I think, is so important to the central themes of this anime, like I said a little bit earlier. So let's tackle that idea, right? I suppose the sugar is a representation of life's simple pleasures, these everyday things that people cherish, that all of us cherish. And that idea of killing being easy if you can forget the taste of sugar, right? It's that notion of forgetting your own emotions in order to stop empathizing with those you hurt or that you plan on hurting. It's to forget the sweetness of life, to take one, right? Forgetting your attachments, disassociation, keeping that distance. And, in this case specifically, Mr. Rosso being a sniper rather than more of a hands-on approach, there is that distance between him and his targets. And he's been at it for a long, long time, right? So I think that played a part as well, because he had this robotic, transactional approach to taking a human life. And he was really quite effective at it, right? So much so that Anna knew about him, right? Her professor knew about this and had a theory, and ultimately she does go to him, perhaps to learn from him, right? To train or be trained by him potentially. But, ultimately she decided that it's better to maybe not get him involved. And of course, it must have been a surprise for her as well, right? Coming in, expecting one thing, but then she sees this Mr. Rosso, really quite a gentle soul. He's a nice man, a lovely man. Now, I can only speak for myself here, but I didn't really get anything creepy from him in that first half of the episode. Now, of course, I knew and I felt that there's got to be something really quite interesting about this man, his past, his backstory, but I kind of just assumed it must have been something tragic, that there is a sadness in his eyes. There is a sadness about him, even though he is quite a nice person, right? Quite a caring person. I mean, in this case specifically, at least, he really looked up for Anna. He took her in. I mean, I don't know how common that would have been back then, or even now, I suppose. For a young girl to just kind of live with just some man. Though, of course, I that sounds kind of harsh. He's not some man. Anna did have some time to kind of understand that. Okay, no, I feel safe around him. He's not that type of person. He's not going to harm me in any way, right? I mean, even at the end there, you see he is a little bit upset. He is a little bit sad to see her go, right? He asked the question, "Do you have to go?" And of course, reluctantly, she nods. She's like, "Yeah, I've got things to do. I've got something on my plate." But going back to his flashback and his target at that moment, who kind of resembled Lunge. I know it's not Lunge, but the character design itself kind of resembled him. That moment, the fifth spoonful of sugar goes in there. And by the way, I think that's just insane, for someone who does not put any cream or milk or sugar in his coffee. I just feel that 5 sugars is insane. And, surely Mr. Rosso is diabetic. Surely he's got to be diabetic at this point. But the point is, it's something so specific, right? And by the time the 5th spoonful goes in, there's that sudden shift. It's almost as if this robotic individual who approaches all of these killings in such a, again, professional, robotic manner, transactional manner, you see that shift. It's an incredible moment. It is. And, for the story as a whole, you see that someone who is so deep in for decades, since he was a child, and that, of course, is quite relatable or applicable to some of these other characters, right? You've got characters like Johan, you've got characters like Dieter, right? People who have been there since an early age. They've been exposed to things, desensitized to things. This man certainly became desensitized at a really young age, didn't he? Right? There's this idea of dehumanizing your target and essentially dehumanizing yourself as well, right? That kind of ties into the thing he said to Anna at the end there, right? But that moment allowed Mr. Grosso to relate to this man, to relate to one of his targets, perhaps for the first time ever, on a human level. Empathy. That is a no-no in that profession, isn't it? Yet, he did have empathy, and you see, because of that, he was able to depart from that line of work. At that moment, he truly understood and saw that it easily could have been him just sitting there on that day, right? This man is just like me. I love that he was able to kind of break loose of it all. And then you see, in the first half of this episode that he is a man who enjoys the simple pleasures, right? Even, these simple pleasures that he was kind of robbed of as a child, even if he really wanted to, take part. But he was kind of pulled into that world. And it kind of continues that trend of film references. This time, I believe, there is certainly a bit of cinema paradiso being referenced here. I mean, he does indeed resemble one of the principal characters of that film. So yeah, it's great to see. It really is. But in terms of Nina's reaction at the end there, especially in the train cart, as well as she is kind of, left by herself and to her thoughts. I've seen Tenma in that position as well, right? At that moment, she must be thinking, I'm going to have to become someone else entirely. I'm going to have to abandon my humanity. I am going to have to abandon myself, essentially, to be able to dial in and kill someone. And on the flip side, she must be thinking about Johan and how he's able to do these things. Or she might feel that this whole time, there's just been no happiness in his life. that he's so detached to everything. But you know, another thing this episode kind of focuses on is how Nina or Anna is able to navigate certain situations, you know, specifically being in Germany, and how Tenma is able to navigate, or you know, some of the roadblocks and some of the struggles of navigating, given you know some of the racial tension and the racial aspect of it altogether, right? Him being Japanese and essentially not really being able to blend in. Nina does not have that issue. Anna, she doesn't have that issue, right? She is able to kind of navigate these situations quite easily, right? Though, of course, there's some, you know, rare cases you kind of come across someone like Mr. Rosso who was able to kind of pick up on all of it. I mean, the moment she told him that she's going for marksman's training, it probably kind of finalized his thoughts on the matter in terms of her intentions. And yeah, I kind of get to see her in the middle of training. This Wenkel is certainly taking more of a hands-off approach in comparison to the soldier, whose name is escaping me at the moment, but the soldier that does train Dr. Tenma. But you know, that kind of reminds me of another thing. One of the major differences here, you see that you know, at that point Tenma was able to pay for that training, and it looked like he was able to pay quite handsomely as well. So you know, you see the resources, the differences in the resources that each one of these characters has, you know, Nina or Anna and Tenma, right? Tenma is able to kind of utilize some of his resources that he's kind of accumulated as a top tier surgeon, a prodigy essentially. And then you have Anna, who has to take up these jobs, these full-time jobs at restaurants, you know, in this case specifically, right? So I like that. It's really quite realistic, isn't it? And speaking of the restaurant, I mean, you know, that whole segment of all the men that kind of, you know, show up and sell out the place essentially to get a glimpse of the new cute girl that's working there now. I don't know, you know, a part of me thought it was kind of wholesome, and part of me thought it was kind of, you know, it was a little bit creepy. I don't know, you know, part of it did make me a little bit uneasy, if I'm being honest. And there's even that moment of Mr. Grosso asking her to smile more, right? Don't waste your beauty. I don't know. I mean, ultimately it's kind of harmless, but I usually don't like that. And then also to go back to the point about Anna being a young girl who is considered to be attractive, she is meant to be a cute girl. You know, she is at risk, because she does, you know, on her journey at the moment, she does kind of end up in really sketchy places. I mean, just quite recently, I saw her in a really sketchy place, that bar, Candy, right? And just that area altogether, and the people, right? So yeah, you know, there's that risk as well. So as a woman, she is at a different type of risk as well on this journey. But yeah, you see that both Anna and the Turkish district basically protect Tenma, right? I mean, Anna is really quite understandable, that she's not going to give up anything about Tenma or even admit that she knows him. But yeah, you know, it's yet another case of another group of people, you know, kind of fighting for Tenma, believing in Tenma, or, you know, really understanding that Tenma is not capable of doing these things that these cops are essentially saying that he's done. Yeah, I love this. I love this aspect of it, right? People kind of turning the other way, right? I don't know, Tenma. I loved how, you know, at first they're really quite proud of Tenma, but the moment the cops bring up the murder suspect aspect of it, you know, they're like, nope, don't know him. I love that. But yeah, I think that should do it for this one, folks. Really quite enjoyable episode. Another fantastic standalone episode from the looks of it. Fantastic limited appearance character in Mr. Rosso. Yeah, really quite memorable. Right, it kind of adds to that collection of really memorable characters. And you know, the exciting bit is that it's still only episode 18. I've probably got so many more of these types of episodes and characters ahead of me. So yeah, I'm really quite excited to get to more of these types of episodes and characters. But yeah, if you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you are interested in full opacity or early access, or perhaps even timer-based full length, consider checking out the Patreon page and potentially supporting the channel. If you are interested, the links are in the description and the pinned comment. Also links to social media, things like Twitter and Instagram. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for episode 19. Until then, take it easy.